Have you ever been punished for doing something completely harmless? Like sitting quietly, minding your own business, and suddenly you're slapped with a fine? What would you do if your neighborhood's HOA fined you $5,000 just for floating on your own lake? Would you pay up and stay quiet? Or would you flip the script in the most outrageous way possible? Because when they tried to silence me, I bought the entire lake. And what happened next changed everything. You ever have one of those moments where you blink, double-check reality, and still can't believe the absurdity of what just happened? That was me holding a $5,000 fine for my HOA for pontooning, not polluting, not throwing a rave, just floating quietly on my own pontoon boat on the lake that touches my backyard, a lake that's been in this town longer than the HOA itself. They called it unauthorized recreational activity. I called it Tuesday. I remember staring at that letter, heart pounding like I'd been slapped in the face with a velvet glove, dipped in arrogance. They were dead serious, and they wanted their money in 7 days or they'd pursue legal action. But here's the part they didn't know. I don't like being cornered. What started as a petty fine was about to wake something up in me, something they'd wish they never poked. I wasn't just going to pay their fine. I was going to buy the entire lake. And when I did, let's just say, the trespassing signs didn't point at me anymore. Stick around, because what they did next will either make you laugh or scream. Maybe both. It started like any other summer weekend. My little pontoon, bless her rusted hull, had just been restored. I'd spent months sanding, welding, and giving her the attention she deserved. She wasn't flashy, but she floated. And on that Saturday morning, coffee in hand, I pushed off from my dock, set a playlist of soft jazz, and let the wind do the steering. It was peaceful, until the email came. Subject, HOA violation, immediate attention required. Unauthorized usage of common property. Fine, $5,000, due, 7 days. I thought it was a joke. Surely someone hit reply all on the wrong chain. So I walked up to the HOA president's house. Enter Greg. Greg is the kind of man who wears a Bluetooth earpiece, even when he's not on a call. The type who refers to himself as a community executive. Greg, I said, holding up my phone. What is this? He sipped his protein shake like it was Dom Perignon. You're in violation of code. Part 3. B. The lake is considered community property. No motorized recreation without approval. I laughed. Greg, it's a pontoon, not a jet ski. He didn't laugh back. In fact, the next day I woke up to HOA members measuring my dock. No warning, no notice, just clipboards and smug expressions. Then came the printed letters taped to my mailbox. Cease unauthorized lake use. And finally, a threat to remove my dock entirely. That's when I found out something worse. Greg had filed an official complaint with the county. That was just the beginning. Over the next 2 weeks, it turned from annoying to absurd. First, they sent a landscaping crew to trim encroaching vegetation on my property line. They cut down 2 of my azalea bushes. One's my late wife planted. When I protested, they shrugged. HOA jurisdiction extends 3 feet from the shoreline. Then my access key to the community pool was deactivated. No explanation, just dead silence when I asked. Neighbors started avoiding eye contact. Some whispered about non-compliance. Others slipped anonymous notes in my mailbox saying, "You're making waves." One even said, "Just pay the fine and keep the peace." It didn't stop there. Greg posted in the community Facebook group calling my pontoon a public nuisance. He attached a blurry zoomed-in photo of me, holding a can of soda, like I was brandishing contraband. Then, oh, this one takes the cake, he staged a mock lake cleanup day. A dozen HOA members with nets, gloves, and garbage bags, all swarming the water right in front of my dock, looking for pollution. One lady said, "We're checking for oil leaks," from my electric pontoon. They even tried to shame me in the monthly newsletter. Under the section, Lake Rules Reminder, all this over a pontoon boat. But here's where it got spicy. I looked into the property records. Turns out, the lake itself was not technically part of the HOA. The HOA had rights to the access points, the docks, the trails, but the body of water? It was privately owned by a company that had recently gone under and was liquidating assets. So I made a few calls. Then I made an offer. And within 30 days, I owned the lake, all of it, every glistening, pontoon-loving, smug-hoey, frustrating inch of it. But I wasn't done, because now I had rules too. After the paperwork cleared, I filed for an easement review and posted 3 brand new signs along the shoreline. Private property, trespassers will be fined. I crafted a new policy, mirroring their own HOA language, with one key difference. Any unauthorized boats, swim platforms, or water activities from HOA property lines, $25,000 per incident. At first, they laughed. Greg called an emergency board meeting. They tried to threaten legal action, but quickly discovered they had no claim. A week later, I saw 2 teenagers kayaking from the community park dock. I sent a gentle notice. The parents raged in the group chat until they saw the deed. Then came the drone footage. Yes, I hired a drone team to fly over the lake on a sunny weekend. Captured every floaty, paddleboard, raft, and pool noodle that drifted into my waters. I didn't find the kids, but I did find the HOA. 17 violations, $1,000 each. I emailed Greg the invoice with the subject, "Return to sender." Silence. Then, retaliation attempt. Greg tried to pass a new bylaw, forbidding members from interacting with lakefront residents without HOA consent. Yeah, that got laughed out of existence. Eventually, he requested a private meeting. We met at the edge of the lake, me on my pontoon, him standing stiff in khakis on the dock. "I think we've had some misunderstandings," he said. I tossed him a cold soda. "I think you misunderstood who you were messing with." The final blow came at the next HOA annual meeting. I showed up with a stack of documents. A slideshow, actually, projected for everyone to see, side by side. Comparisons of the HOA rules. There's my new lake policies. Photos, invoices, emails, and the drone footage. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was showing what unchecked power looks like. Then, what happens when it's flipped? People started clapping. Neighbors who had once avoided me nodded, even smiled. Then one woman raised her hand. "Can we vote to remove Greg as president?" It passed, unanimously. Greg sat frozen. A man realizing his Bluetooth earpiece couldn't save him now. I stood, nodded respectfully, and walked out to my pontoon. The sun hit the water just right. As I pulled away, I passed the new sign I'd installed that morning. "Welcome to Lake Karma, no hoe zone." I didn't set out to buy a lake. I just wanted a quiet ride on my pontoon, a cup of coffee, and maybe some jazz. But the thing about control freaks, they always push one step too far. I've learned something in all this. And it's not just about property, law, or petty politics. It's this. Sometimes standing your ground means building your own. Whether it's a lake, a business, or your own peace of mind. When someone tries to box you in, don't just push back, expand. Oh, and if you're ever fined for enjoying your life quietly, maybe, just maybe, it's time to make waves. What would you have done if you got fined for floating on your own lake? Let me know in the comments. And if you stayed till the end, comment "Justice served." So I know you're part of the pontoon crew. Till next time, stay calm, stay clever, and maybe keep a spare deed in your back pocket. You never know when you'll need it.